Welcome. We're back with another series of Zero to Hero. But this time, it's Tank Edition. So in my Vengeance Demon Hunter series, I asked you guys, what should I play next? And when the final results came in, Tank Brewmaster and Blood DK stood above the rest. But then I thought, why stop there? Why not make this even harder for myself? So here's the plan. Get every tank to Keystone Hero. I bet you're asking, why the hell am I doing this to myself? Honestly, I don't even know. After getting Keystone Hero on Demon Hunter, I swore I'd never do this again. Yet, here I am. For those of you who are new here, welcome. I'm Obey, and I do Zero to Hero challenges. I'm pretty new on the YouTube scene, so go easy on me. Or don't. Your savage comments hurt my feelings, but they also boost the YouTube algorithm. And honestly, the comments don't hurt whatsoever. So what is a Zero to Hero challenge? It's basically where you pug your way to 2500 IO rating. I know, sounds easy, right? Wrong. For the casual player, it's a dream to even achieve such a feat. But for us, it's just another day in the office, or should I say, dungeon. According to Raider.io, only the top 10% of players are Keystone Hero. So then what makes this challenge so difficult? Well, this is a solo challenge. No help, no friends, just me and the toxic cesspool that is the pug community. But there is more to it than that. There's a few additional rules. No gold transfers. So I can't just send myself a bunch of gold and buy all the crafted gear I want. I've got to earn that money, and there's no rules on how I earn it.
You'll find me wherever the action is.
No showing your Raider IO stat. You know when you see someone bragging about being 2500 IO rating on their ult? Well, this usually gives them special treatments to get into dungeons. But in most cases, these players are usually just pretty special. So this means we have to go in with a clean slate. No bragging about our measly 2500 IO rating. And of course, the last rule, this is a solo journey, so no friends allowed. Not like that's a problem for me anyway. Act 1, level 1 to 80. I mean, if you've played WoW before, it's pretty easy to get to level 80. You start a fresh character, grind out quests until you hit level 11, and from that point, just spam dungeons all the way to level 80. But make sure you do time walker dungeons, that's the fastest way to get big XP. During the leveling process, you can kind of get a feel for your class, but not really. The leveling scaling is all messed up, so it's hard to actually get a feel for how the class plays. This process is a little bit boring, and at times can be frustrating. But hey, at least you don't have to do it 5 more times like me. So, you're level 80. Congrats! Now it's time to get a decent eye level. The best way I found is just to spam the world quest. This will take you less than an hour, and from it, you'll pick up some gear, gold, and some coffer keys. These will come in handy. Once you've done all the world quests, the next stop is to the auction house. Because it's late into the season, you can pick up 564 gear at a very low price. And just like that, you are now ready for Mythic Plus. But first, let's use them coffer keys that we just got. Delves are really not that hard for a tank. And because I've done so many this season, my brand is a Giga Chad. So just set him to a healer and you will fly through these dungeons. I ended up getting super lucky on my first delve and picking up myself a delve bounty. This will guarantee a 610 eye level piece. Harmful attacks and ability have a high chance to build momentum, granting 2 bonus movement speed per stack. Movement speed? Really? Fuck! A few more delves later and this is what you should look like. We're 570 eye level now. What sort of trinket is that? We got a bunch of 603 pieces, so this bumped up our eye level all the way to 570. Now, it's officially time for the dreaded Mythic Plus. As you can see, we leveled up the highly requested Brewmaster, and I'm just going to come out and say it. This has got to be the weirdest tank I've ever played. I was getting my ass pounded.
What do you mean by that?
And I didn't like it.
Liar!
The first couple of packs had me sweating. This was living proof that the time walking dungeons taught me nothing. Brewmaster kind of plays like my dad. When he drinks, he normally does the beating. But Brewmaster, he takes the beating and drinks to forget about it. All jokes aside, Brewmaster's playstyle is complicated. But it's only going to get harder the higher the key gets. There's not much to talk about in this 2 miss. 2s are always rough. I couldn't really tell if it was me who's being disabled or if it was my teammates. Either way, we still timed the dungeon. It wasn't easy, but we got a necklace from it, and a little bit of experience of what the next few months are going to look like. We didn't stop there, even though I really wanted to, because I follow my Lord and Savior, Nick A30.
Never back down, never what? Never give up.
Yeah.
Even if you're not feeling confident, you still gotta pull big and hope you don't die. And luckily for us, we came out on top. I was slowly getting used to how Brewmaster works. Once I get a better understanding of it, I'm sure I'll be able to break it down for you. But for now, we stay drinking and stay spinning. This dungeon was a little smoother than the last. Each boss was pretty easy. Some packs did hit hard, but we managed to not die thanks to our healer. But when he isn't there, it's game over for us. These lower keys can be pretty annoying. People just keep dying to like random little stuff. But you kind of expect that. My plan going forward is just to push until I feel like I'm really struggling. Which brings us over to our next key, our 5 Ara Kara. Oh, and we got a trinket from that last dungeon. Now this is a big jump from what we was just doing, so I made sure I was a little bit more prepared. We bought some healing pots and some buffs. Our first 5. Let's see how it goes. Ara Kara is pretty generous with its timer, so I knew going into this, if I just take my time and not overpull, I could easily finish this dungeon. Most of the early packs leading up to the first boss was so easy. The only worrying bit was the initial pull. I'm not overly confident with my threat management, so the pulls I would normally do on Demon Hunter didn't quite work out on Brewmaster. Only true obstacle before the first boss is the second elite spider. Has he just lost it? Don't get me wrong, this elite is scary, but not that scary. Call of the Brood is the ability that will wipe a whole party if you're not careful, but for some reason this time it didn't do that much damage. Because we used Lust on that scary elite, we didn't have it for the first boss. I was a little nervous going into this boss because I knew Ferocious Bite and Alert and Shrill usually chunks me pretty hard on Demon Hunter, but just popping a defensive before these mechanics made it feel like I was getting slapped in the face with a napkin. Overall, the boss fight didn't last too long. We took him down within a couple of rotations. I was still taking my time with the pulls and was pulling like a little bitch. This is a marathon, not a sprint, so just taking your time and knowing your limits will always prevail. There were some scary moments where I thought I was going to accidentally chain pull the entire dungeon, but luckily the mob didn't social pull and I managed to paralyze the mob before things got a little bit too spicy. I'm not even going to talk about this second boss, it's honestly so easy. It's basically a normal mob with a boss health bar. There was one more scary pull before the final boss. The Scarab mob accidentally pulled with the flies, but as I said in other videos, timing your CC ability with the Scarab stun will potentially help save the entire group, so always keep that in mind. The final boss of Ara Kara. Honestly, I still have PTSD for when I was playing Mistweaver. Oh no. Oh my god, I'm so bad. But luckily, this time I have nothing other than Tiger Lust that can make me immune to roots. Huh? Who did that? And here's me thinking I was safe. What the hell even unrooted me? Fortunately, I didn't die. But sadly, my healer ended up succumbing to the suck. He ended up getting a battle res, but the suck was so good he had to go in for seconds. The nerves were starting to get to me. I've seen countless dungeons fall victim to this final boss. And with everyone dropping like flies, I felt like we was just going to be another name crossed off our list. And with another death from my healer, I really thought it was over this time. But because we didn't die leading up to the final boss, I guess we had a bunch of battle reses at our disposal. And after a long and grueling fight, we finally took down the boss. Sadly, we didn't get the God Trinket. But guess what? Someone else did. We didn't get a trinket, but we've tanked to 5. And honestly, it was pretty easy. Let's take a little break and improve our character some more. So I've mentioned in another video how you can craft a 619 piece early on, and a lot of people still don't know about it, but there's a questline that you can do to get an enchanted runed Airbringer crest. The questline is pretty simple, and it starts out at this cute little spider. The spider will give you a quest that sends you to Arshgahet. Here, you will meet up with the spider that has the deepest voice I've ever heard.
You're going to be interesting.
He will send you to go and kill a bunch of mobs, and after that, you'll meet back up with the spider homie. And he will send you to his little bro.
Are you lost in the dark?
His quest is basically the same thing. Just kill these abductors and free the captured spider. Return to little bro, and he will send you to kill their leader. Once you've done that, return to James Earl Jones and he'll give you access to the raid. This is where you will take down the final raid boss. It's a very easy questline and takes around 10 to 15 minutes, and from that you'll have an enchanted crest. Now it's time to buy the materials. This can be a little bit expensive, but once I hit 80, I spec'd straight into mining and herbing. And through my journey traveling to both dungeons and delves, I've been slowly gathering resources to sell on the auction house, and this has netted me a nice chunk of change. Unfortunately, I was a little bit short to buy the remaining embellishments, and to tip my crafter. So it was back to grinding. We hit up some delves along the way, and after an hour, this is how we were looking. We've got a 7 goddamn city of threads. Let's queue this up and see how far we can push ourselves before we fall over. Remember, slow and steady wins the race. Know your limits and pull what you think you can pull. I know what you're thinking. Oh, you're just inviting high level people, blah blah blah. Well, I don't think I am. The people that I'm inviting don't have an insane IO rating. And I'm a tank. The whole weight of the dungeon lies with me. If I can't tank it, everyone will just die. And look what just happened. You see? If I can continue to do this mob solo with no help from my teammates, then I think I've picked the right group for the job. If you know me, you know I don't like City of Threads. The mobs are hard and the bosses are even harder. The first boss was a little bit shaky. I was so fixated at times on myself and my CDs that I wasn't even looking at my screen, so this happened.
Frontal.
Really? Really, dude?
Reposition.
Somehow, I didn't die. Maybe it was skill, maybe it was luck. Who really knows? The main thing is, we lived to see another day. We successfully took down the first boss and made our way through the maze. Gaining that initial threat on the mobs was a little bit scary, but I knew if I just threw a keg and breathed fire on him before the team started to pump, everything would be fine. The second boss was honestly so easy. I think Brewmaster must be a hard counter to this boss because I was taking 0 damage, even on the frost circle mechanic. This would normally chunk me hard, but popping dampen harm at the right moment allowed me to have it up for both circles. This was the only bit I was worried about. The rest of the fight is down to the healer, and he managed to clutch up too. I was feeling confident now, so I decided to go big. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the gamers that I had in my group? They allowed me to gain threat and group up the mobs before pumping like their lives depended on it. Also, can someone explain how on earth I wasn't taking any damage in this pull? The bar was red the whole time, but my health bar was hardly moving. I'm still in healer mode at the moment, so going into this mini boss, I knew I had the power to dispel people. I never knew Brewmaster was this strong. Now I might actually be useful on the final boss of Splaattack. The run was going smooth, but it was only a matter of time before we tripped and fell. And that is exactly what happened on the next boss. I think we did a terrible job at soaking up the orbs, so he ate a couple, and the placements were a little bit crap, so once the dark pulse went off, it was GG. The next run was a lot smoother. I made sure to position myself at the edge of the room and collect the orbs in better spots. This allowed space for my DPS and healer to safely hit the boss and heal through the dark pulse mechanic. We managed to live through it this time, so all we had to do now was rinse and repeat. By the time we got to the second dark pulse, the boss was basically dead. Our positioning was good and we was pretty healthy, so we managed to live and took down the boss with no more issues. Going into the boss with over 6 minutes left, I was feeling confident that we would time this key if we didn't wipe again. I can talk about this boss all day, but the video was getting on, and in the moment, this boss was a blur. There was a few deaths, but I was too worried about keeping myself alive. I wasn't even focusing on what my teammates were doing. With only 2 DPS alive, the boss was slowly ticking down. Thankfully, our battle res finally came through, and we finally finished the final boss, but we still need to kill 2 more mobs before we're in the clear. Bam! We finally finished our first 7 key. Use it. I really didn't think I would be doing 7s today, but I guess miracles can happen. We got traded some hands, which can be converted into a set piece later on, and this is how we're looking. We've got a long way to go, so stay tuned. If you like the content, subscribe. If you made it this far, we already know you like the content, so subscribe anyway. Like, comment, all of that good stuff. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.